Welcome back to our Rich Choice YouTube channel. In today's class, we are going to learn how to make this beautiful structured heart-shaped hanging sleeve. It's a very simple tutorial. It's really beautiful and elegant as we have seen. I'm going to teach you how to cut and sew this in this tutorial. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so this is a heart-shaped structured hanging sleeve. So I'm just going to be drafting on a paper first before transferring it to our fabric. So the first one I'm going to be cutting out is the heart design before we cut out the other parts that we're going to sew to the basic design, which is the heart shape. So now, so that I can have something uniform, I'm just putting my paper on fold like this. So the measurement that I'm using to fold my paper is totally up to you. It depends on how big you want it to be. So for me, for the length, I'm going to be working with a total length of 9 inches. Between 8 to 10 inches is okay. So I'm choosing to work with 9 inches. And then for the total width of this, I'm going to work with 3 to 4 inches, so I can make it around 3.5 inches. Okay, so now you can just mark those areas so that you know that your shape is not going to exceed those areas that you want. So now, to form the heart shape, you can actually use your free hand, or if you have a curve like this, you can use it as well to make the work easier. So for my curve, I'm just trying to place the curve in a way that is going to follow the heart shape that I need, and then it's going to stop where my length stops. So you can see what I'm doing here. So what I'm doing now with my marker, I'm just marking out what I have, so you can see what I have there. So after marking this heart now, I'll grab my scissors and then cut out around it. So with this now, you're sure that you have the same thing on both sides. Okay, make sure that you don't have any part sharp, so you just blend everything well. So now that we have it like this, by the time I open it out, this is what I have, which is the base of this sleeve. So this heart shape cannot stand on its own. For it to be a hanging sleeve, you have to attach something to the hem, to the edges like this. So now to do that, I'll put it on fold again, and then I'll measure around what I have. Okay, you measure around this curve. So you can see how I'm measuring it, and now I have about 12.5 to 13 inches. So because it's on fold, I'll multiply that into 2, and that's going to give me about 26 inches. So I'm going to cut a straight fabric of 26 inches length, and then the width can be between 3 to 4 inches as well. So now that I have cut it out, I'm going to sew it to these edges all around. So in order not to destroy this heart shape, this pointed heart shape that I have, so on the edge, the open part of these two edges, remember it's on fold, I'm going to shape it to trim it down to what I have here. So here I'm going to come in by around 4 inches or 5 inches. Okay, and then on this part that I'm going to sew to the heart shape, I'll just come up by 1 inch. Remember, you need allowance to sew it, and then I just wanted to leave it high there. So now with the curve again, I'm going to reconnect it and smoothen it out so that I won't have that part too pointed. So now I'm going to go ahead and then trim it off. So you can check what you have. If you are not satisfied with it, you can also retrim it, but I think I like what I have. I'm just going to trim it down a little bit more and make sure that it blends well. Okay, so now we're going to be sewing this to this so that the sleeve can stand out just like we have it like this. So now the last one to cut now is the one that is going to be attached to the main dress that we are sewing it to the shoulder. So that's going to be sewn to this other side of the second part we are cut. Remember, this part is going to be sewn to this, so this last part is what we're going to sew here so that we can hang it to the shoulder. So the measurement you're going to need for that is going to be around between 8 to 9 inches basically. Remember, I started cuffing this one from 4 inches, so 1 2 3 4, that's about 9 inches from the center point. So you can make it 9 or 8 inches. and then the width of that can also be around 3 to 4 inches. So I already cut out this paper for my third pattern. Okay, so all this measurement is totally based on how big you want this structure to be. So I have 9 inches by 4 inches here. So now that part that we're going to be sewing to the shoulder, so it's just going to come a little bit downwards to the armhole area. It's not going to go all around the armhole. So for that part, I'm going to measure around 4 to 6 inches. I'm still going to gather it a little bit there. So I'll just mark around 5.5 inches, and then I'll connect it to the hem. Okay, this is because I don't want this to go all the way around the armhole. Okay, the fold point there is going to be the shoulder point, which is here. Okay, this is where you're going to be hanging it to the shoulder, and just going to come down to the armhole a little bit. It's not going to go all the way to the armhole. So this is going to be the upper part, and this is the part we're going to sew to this. So because of the shaping that I've already done here, it may not be easy for me to sew it. So I'm just going to put it on fold now and place this on it so that I can shape them equally. I hope you understand that. I just want something smooth so that by the time I'm sewing it, the work is going to be easier for me. So I'm just placing them on each other now, and then you can just use your marker to draw out the new shape that we have there, so that everything can just blend very well. So now, after connecting like that, I'm going to take my scissors and then shape this out. So after shaping it out, this is what it looks like. So we're going to be sewing this part to this part, and then we're going to be sewing the last one to it as well. So these are the patterns that we have here. This is the major one, which is the base. This is what you're going to sew to the base, and this is what is going to hang to the sleeve. So just make sure that everything rhymes very well like this, so that when you're sewing it, it's not going to be a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them on my fabric and add half an inch all round as my seam allowance. I'm using this shimmery fabric because it's very beautiful and it's not going to need so much trimming to make the sleeve come out well. And then you're going to need a interfacing, because this is a structured sleeve, so you want it to be standing firm. And then if you're adding beads or whatever to it which is heavy, you don't want it to start crumbling, so you want it to be as strong as possible. So if you're using this as your lining as well, you're going to cut 2 for each sleeve, and then if you're using something else as lining, you cut 1 of this for each of your sleeve. So I'll go ahead and cut this and the lining and fuse my interfacing to it, and then bring it back to show us how to sew it. I've cut it out now, and then I added my interfacing to it, both the lining and main fabric, because this is just a gum stay, so you can use a collar stay for yours so that it can be really strong. So the first one I'm going to do now is to go ahead and sew this to the base. So it is important that you notch the midpoint. That's going to guide you when you're sewing. So you sew from center to center. So this straight part is where you're going to sew to it. So I'm going to sew it like this and like this. Then after that, I'm going to sew this as well. Okay, because we have trimmed it, it's going to make it easy for us. And then you follow this notch area. So I will do the same thing for the lining as well. I'll sew the 3 together and then bring it back for us to turn it. So I've gone ahead to join it. You can see I joined the heart shape to the second layer, and then this is the part where we're going to hang it. So I feel this part is too long, so I'm just going to reduce it a little bit. So here I'm just removing like half an inch from it, and then I'm going to reshape it. So I'll do the same thing for the main bodies as well. So this is what it looks like. So now we're going to use them to turn out each other. Remember, I left 1 inch when I wanted to shape the second part, so I've used half an inch to join to the heart shape. So I'm going to use the remaining half inch to join them together, so turn them over. So this is what the main bodies looks like. Now you just need to iron those edges so that they can come out really sharp for you. So what I did for this part now, I'm going to go ahead and do for this other side. So I'm going to use this to trace it out so that they can be the same, because we are going to use them to turn out each other. So you want them to be uniform. So you can leave it as the 4 inches, but I just feel it's too long. That is why I'm trimming it off like this, so that I can have something sizable, just like this. So now what you're going to do now is to place them against each other like this, and then I'm going to sew all around it and turn it from this upper part. You just leave a space to turn it so that it can be neatly finished. So I have sewed it all around now, and then I left a little space on this upper part to turn it out. So from there now I'm going to pull everything out, and then you arrange it well, and you go ahead and re-iron again. Okay, so after that, that little space that I left, I'll find a way to close it. So what you just want to achieve is that you have something neat both in and out. It has to be neat. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You can see that we still have our heart shape. We have this second part, and then this is the part where I'm going to hang it to the shoulder. Okay, so after closing this part, you can use your needle and thread, or you can just top stitch on it. I'm just going to gather this part a little bit, and then this part is what I'm going to tack to my shoulder so that it can be standing like this. So to make it more beautiful, you can add beads and trimmings to it so that it can just like fringe it, so that it can just go like that and make it even more beautiful than what we have here. So I'll take it to the mannequin now so that we can see what it looks like. Okay, so now what you just need to do is to tack it to your shoulder. I can see how I held it with my pin. So just tack it forward a little bit to your armhole, and you do the same thing at the back as well. So this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful it is and how structured it is looking. I just used a regular gum sleeve for this. So if you are working with yours and you want to add a lot of beads and trimming to it, it's better you use a collar stay so that it can retain this form and shape that you have here. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.